Definitely can't monetize now because I played 3 seconds of music. That is a JDSlabs Element 2. And you have to tell me that because I'm looking at it going, this is an Element 2. Is it just the amp? No. DAC amp. We've got the USB going to my laptop here because I don't subject this poor Windows 7 PC to any more drivers, and since it is Windows 7, it would need drivers, whereas Windows 10 does not. So, JDSlabs, it's been pretty quiet. It's been a little bit of crickets because we've got the Atom, which came out like what, a year plus ago, and nothing much ever since. I know they've been literally spending their weekends just putting together Vocal Erupts with screwdrivers and duct tape. It's like, oh god, more Vocal Erupts. So apparently they have been doing stuff behind the scenes because the Element 2 is, well, a pretty big step up from the Element 1. I'm going to read specs. I don't like to read specs. Everyone can read specs. Every asshole on the YouTube be like, well, you know, this is a good amplifier because the distortion levels is 0.00041%, and the USB jitter components, 12 kilohertz, is negative 127 decibels. Link in the description to this page. Go read the specs by yourself. All right? The specs of this DAC amp. And I want to point out that it's $400. This is $400. This is not like a cheap thing. In fact, I think it's more money than the Element was. The Element was $350-ish. Dropped to like $329, I think, at some point. 1.3 watts at 32 ohms on high gain, continuous. And 165 milliwatts at 600 ohm. Those are like the important ones. The power ratings. Okay, power. But all the THD... oh, except for that one. That's the only one that doesn't have 3 zeros after the decimal place. They are fighting THX without using THX tech. I think this is going to be a trend. I think THX sort of set the bar. They said, hey, look, we got this new technology. It's anamorphic, analytical audio, asynchronous. I forget what the 3A stand for. But they came out, that was over 10 months ago. That was like a year ago. And everybody else who makes amps tapping SMSL just got THX tech. But there's other companies that are like, oh fuck, they don't want to license the same shit. So now they're really hunkering down and putting the tech into it. And simplifying things. If you look at the inside of what this looks like, I don't know if you could see that. Can we see it? Can we see it? Can we view this image? Can we zoom it in? Yeah. There's so little on this board. There's just empty, vast emptiness on it. And you're like, well, Zelos, what am I paying for? If it's, you're paying for the simplification to take, have you ever seen inside a fucking Audio God product? There's just PCBs layered on top of PCBs with other PCBs and metal walls to block the... And that's one way to do it. Or simplify. To pull 1.3 watts out of essentially an empty PCB board and then have it sound this good and then have it be this clean, and there's a DAC in there somewhere and it does pre-out control, it's like how I guess all those nights of screwing together Vocal Erupts has given them like superhuman ability to design things. So I'll give you the tour, and excuse me for not unplugging things, but everything's plugged in and I'm going to leave it plugged in except for one thing I'm going to unplug. So the front, it's not balanced. It's just like the original Element. Plastic 1/4-inch adapter, which I still wish it was metal. I mean, the whole box is aluminum. This and the knob are aluminum, and you insert. The bottom is plastic with the 4 big bulbous things. It has the JDSlabs logo massive on the bottom. I kind of like that. It's a very simple design, and this one I think has been passed around a bit because it's got a little bit of a dirt problem. I will admit this, I had a yodel before I started listening to it today, and as soon as I turned the lights on above my head, I saw every fingerprint I'd ever touched it with, ever, in the whole of humanity. Every fingerprint that I had to get my rubbing alcohol out and clean it. So, oh, these sides are still a mess. Oh, God. So, while the aluminum is very pretty, it's very porous, and if you have anything oily on your hands, it's going to be there. So if you're a chip eater, if you're a person who sits at your desk eating Cheetos and then wants to touch it, don't. White gloves, put this under plastic or something. That's the knob on top is the knob on top. Power is indicated by, there's a very dim white light underneath the ring. There's a little bit of copper that shines there, which that's not lit up, but the white would light that up. This is your... Well, you have to excuse my ghetto speaker demo here. I'll explain what that's about, because I didn't feel like pulling powered monitors down, which is what they're really designed for, because it's a pre-out, not a line out. Back to the back. Jesus. Power input. Same exact power input. There's a giant 16-volt AC transformer on the floor over there. Your power and headphone switch is that button. This is your high-low gain. These are inputs from the Bluetooth receiver I'm using, which happens to be an X-Duo XQ50. And we're going to talk about that. Oh, by the way, these are those world's best cables. They're not cheap. They're like $30 a set. But, oh my God, those Amphenol connectors, bro. They're pretty and black and made in Japan. And let me have some expensive wires just because they're pretty, all right? I'm not a big, like, oh my God, they sound better. I have plenty of cheaper cables. They just aren't as pretty. So this is our input from an external source, which is the Bluetooth receiver. This is our output, which is switchable, and it's intended to be used with studio monitors or self-powered speakers or a power amp, something that doesn't have a volume control, so you can control the volume with this. Again, lazy. So I'm just gonna put this topping PA3 on the desk, cover it with the manual, because if I don't have it covered with black, it's just very silver and it's gonna ruin this whole review. So let's pretend that doesn't exist and pretend those are powered monitors. And here is your full-size USB. It's not USB-C. I think they do that, and they can comment if they want. I think they leave it a full-size USB so that assholes that want to put $500 USB cables can go use their giant, you know, USB-A-B wires. Whereas I found this in a box. I think it was from a printer or something. It's fine. If you want to switch between your outputs here, which are going to speakers, and your headphones here, you hold the power button for 2 seconds. Make sure you hold it, because if you just press it, you shut it off. That feels backwards to me. I feel like if I want to switch, it should be a quick press. And then if I want to shut it off or turn it on, that should be the long press. But it's backwards on this unit, because I think the previous element was no secondary function. It was just always a hold. But to have to like remember that, like if I want to listen to headphones are playing currently, which by the way, we are currently playing off of my phone right now because little X-Duo Bluetooth. I'm probably not giving this its own review. I will link to the company that sent it to me. It's the quality unit. RCA outputs, internal DAC, or coaxial digital output, or optical output. And it runs on a USB-C power with a little antenna. And power button and next track. I could actually next track or play pause. I can play pause. I don't think I can next track. I've tried. Oh, I just shut it off. Well, since I shut that off, let me unplug it now. Actually, wait. Now that I've shut that off, let me unplug this now. But first, switching back to the speakers so you can understand what's going on. The one flaw, the one big flaw, we're going to talk about sound quality and fingerprints. We're going to talk about how amazing this thing sounds and how much it could push everything. But the biggest flaw is the inability to switch from the USB input to these RCA inputs. I looked at the manual and it literally says, well, when the RCAs are plugged in, this is what's happening, and when the RCAs are unplugged, this is what's happening. But there's no switch. So I can switch high and low gain, and I can switch external speaker or headphone, but I can't switch whether I'm using RCA input or USB input. So you have to unplug it. And now, right now, the USB is being used. So as soon as you plug in, and I'll remove this from the chain and the desk. As soon as you plug in something external, this is now the only thing that your Element 2 plays. You plug in an auxiliary cable for your phone, or you want to plug. Congratulations, that's it. Now, I guess this would be if you wanted to up the DAC. I don't see a purpose in upping the DAC. this thing has got amazing specs on its own. So the only thing I could think to add to that is if I'm one of those people who has, Bluetooth devices, or you just want to run your speakers off your phone, you'd want a Bluetooth thing, but you'd have to plug it in every time. And if you want to go back to USB and Don Williams, you have to unplug the RCAs. So that's just like a little, like they need one more button, or they need to have the high-low gain also be it, or push both buttons and it'll switch. I'm willing to give that a pass because it's sort of like a one thing or another. If you're buying this, most likely you are just plugging in USB to your computer, plug in headphones, happy time. Even the switch to go to speakers or headphones is probably only going to be used by about 20% of people who buy this. Maybe even less than that. Can we actually get votes in the description? I want to know this fact. Because a lot of units have, like the Magnis and stuff, all have like switches or can power headphones and then output to speakers. How many people are actually doing that? Because my bet is, if you're buying something like this, you're buying a $400 DAC amp that sounds this fucking good and can power this many things, you're probably going to just be using it on headphones and no other, this is a hell of a feature to have it to power out studio monitors and control them. Can I never have that song play again, by the way? There you go. That song, this Planeteus OST, will definitely get me blocked worldwide or demonetized. It's such a good track, too. It's such a good soundtrack. Well, let me put these back on. Switch back with the hold. Am I on high gain? Nope, now I'm on high gain. Oh my god. So, if you don't know, these are ZMF. Ow. Fuck. These are one of the ZMF cans that takes a little bit more power to push. And on low gain, 2 o'clock. I really shouldn't be doing that song, should I? Oh, God. Yeah, the auteurs here. Actually, let's go to something that's a little bit more usable. And by usable, I mean by people. T20 RPs. Everyone's always T50, T50, T50. You know what a T20 is? It's an open back T50. Change to the 1840 pads. Not the 1540 pads, the 1840 pads. Put on a comfort strap. Feed it with enough power. Oh, and change the wire to this SKW. Yeah, high gain for sure. High gain, noon, good indicator. It does an amazing job. How does it do it so cleanly? You want to hear that? You want to hear it? I also have on my desk, and I'm not done and ready to review these yet, but these are the AKG K371s. And I want to love them. But I might not. I don't know. No, leave these off for a second. These are too weird to you. I'm not even going to listen. Not yet. You can see the fingerprints starting to form. Now, granted, I'm Zeus and I have Italian problems, but Dark Knight Rises, Gotham's Reckoning. You know, this is the loudest song ever because it does that, what's that musical effect where music just sounds like it's getting louder, but it never actually like gets louder. It just keeps doing that. But the very end of the song does that, and it's like amazing. I can't think of many other all-in-ones that can push things as cleanly and powerfully as this. I know I have my little hard on for the X-Duo XDO5 Plus. That thing pushes a solid watt per channel, which is a little less than this, but it's also a portable. So I mean, you're talking about different classes of thing. I still love that, and I think you could use it on a desk, and it's got fiber optic input. But this is a better DAC amp. This is a better DAC amp than, well, I think most DAC amps. I've not gotten to this Topping DX7 Pro yet. That's more money, though. But it's also balanced, and it's got a remote. So it's really like, we're just fighting the feature sets now. JDSlabs has got their form factor, which I think needs to be updated. They need to have at least a third button or a side button or balanced. I'm waiting for balanced, JDSlabs. Please give me balanced. Someone's hammering. No one should want more on a DAC amp combo than this is giving you, especially for the money and for the looks. It just sits there on your desk. The only caveat I have as far as the design, I mean, I like the design. I like a big knob on top. Is it has to sort of sit in the middle of your desk if you want to tuck it away. And I had this complaint when I did the first element and the stack, is you need to be able to access the top of it. And actually the back of it, truly, if you really want to. Like, I complain all the time that shit stuff doesn't have a power button in the front. Like, look, I can shut off this Topping amp. See, it's off in the front. If I want to shut this off, it's not just in the back. It's like all the way in the back and require me to hold buttons. So you have to have access to 360 degrees of, actually no, you don't need the left side or the right side. So you just need like, you need to be able to get over it. So if your desk can support this shape, then by all means. I love this thing. I do. I know DMS just finished his review. He said it's going to be his daily driver. And that'd be great, except for the fact that I can't afford to have a daily driver. I've got too much stuff I need to test. This has to be my daily driver for a few weeks. This was in my daily driver, the SP200. How does it compare to the SP200? Well, that's 6 watts per channel. Actually, it's 6 watts per channel at 16, so it's only 3 watts per channel at 32, where this is 1.3. So it's a more powerful amp. And as clean as any THX amp. But this thing is not shying away from being as clean as any THX amp. And it's an amp DAC combo. So, if you're thinking THX, yes, you can get that and a DAC. Hell, I would recommend you get, since it isn't truly balanced, ready, watch me work this in. You want to get THX, you get the SP200. You want to get a DAC for it, you get the JDSlabs EL DAC. In fact, I've been hinted at a new stack coming. So where this is the Element 2 and an all-in-one and really nice and clean, there should be in the future, very short-term future, a new updated stack that has this new amplifier and all the DAC improvements they made in the individualized stack. So maybe one of these and an EL2 DAC. But for an all-in-one that does convenient switching, which I actually now have this off, so I can't even do a convenient switch. Oh, I powered it off. I powered it off. I meant to switch it, and I hit the button, and it powered off. So now I got to power it back on, and of course that went, oh my God, there's no more device. So let's close that. Open. Hold. I don't want to keep just yeah, you know if you want this or not. I'm not here to tell you if you want it or not. I'm here to tell you that I love it, and I'm probably, the only reason I wouldn't pull this out often is just the USB connectivity. The stack, I have the option to use fiber optic. I'm a fiber optic sort of guy. USB bothers me, but if I have this sort of scenario going on, if I take this laptop and I close the lid, and nice sticker by the way, available under the video. If I close this lid, I take this laptop and I bring it to New York, or I bring it down to Virginia, all I gotta bring is this, a power brick, and whatever headphones I fucking want, and I'm golden. So, That's my usage case scenario for this unit. You, on the other hand, park it on your desk. You play games, fine, plenty of power. You want to switch the speakers? Boom, you can do it. You want to use an external input? It gets a little bit hairy because you have to plug it in and unplug it if you want to use that. But as far as cleanliness and power, sold. I am sold on it, JDSlabs. Now I want you to show me what you could do with a stack. And then I want you to send me my Vocalorups. Give me my Vocalorups. I heard them at RMAF. I heard them at RMAF again. I got the itch. And some people, by the way, if you were at RMAF and you did listen to the Vocalorups, some people were complaining. I'm like, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? And it turned out one of the 1/4-inch adapters, because it was using an adapter, was failed because it's a 4-pin. And if it was pushing all the way, you were literally listening to mono. And so if you thought that the Vocalorups didn't sound very good, it was because of that adapter. My bad. So the Vocalorups are still up there, and I just got reminded that I want to listen to Vocalorups on this unit. And hopefully that'll happen in the next, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. We good here? We golden? That wallpaper, Android 18, dual wielding Uzis. Those Uzis? Those don't look like Uzis. They look like something else. Available in the description. All my patrons got to see these videos first. Now I'm trying to build my buffer back up because I've had guests over and I'm just running. You might have noticed there's like 8 speaker reviews out in the last 2 weeks, because I did like 8 speaker reviews in the last 2 weeks. But if you want to see these reviews early, $5 patrons get to see that. $2 patrons access to all my wallpapers, and $5 patrons also in the yard sale from the 1st to the 10th. Now I'm probably going to hold on to this, not put it in a yard sale, because I want to make sure when the stack shows up, I can compare directly. I wonder if there's going to be more power, less power, up, down. I want to know. So everything else in the yard sale will be in the yard sale. $10 patrons get into a private Telegram background, secret, behind the scenes, know what's going on chat, which is actually, it's going to almost hit 200 members, but we're about to purge it. We do a purge every 3 months, so that if you decide that I'm a piece of shit, you kick your ass out. But I mean, that happens all the time. So that's it. I think I'm done. I'm going to now go back to listening to these AKGs. Oh, and maybe these Fidelio X2 HRs. Something else I had plugged into this and just didn't for the video, because, you know. That's all. See you tomorrow. Something else. Probably speakers or headphones or something boring. Boring stuff.